Yo, what's up? Welcome to Kind of Funny Games Daily for Wednesday, November 29th, 2023. I'm one of your hosts, Blessing Adeoye Jr. Joining me is WWE superstar Greg Miller.
Hello, Blessing. How are you?
Doing good. How are you doing?
I'm great. Doesn't it feel good to see yourself on all these Spotify Wrapped?
It does. Yeah, it never gets old is the thing. I think since every year I've been here, I've been tagged in a bunch of Spotify Wraps at the end of the year.
Yeah.
And every year it's like the same thing where it's like, oh yeah, the Kind of Funny podcasts dominate my top 5 because if you listen to one, you probably listen to all of them. But it's still a really cool feeling to see KFGD and PSLW and Gamescast be the top listened podcast for a lot of people.
You kind of forget, I talk about all the time that we share this and exist in this sacred space for so many people, right? Part of their routine. You're walking the dog, or you're driving to work, you're coming home, you're doing your job, whatever it is, you listen to us there. But even as connected as we all are with Twitter, Instagram, whatever it is, Patreon, wherever you want to fire off a message to us, right? It's still that idea that for so many people, that ritual is still one-on-one, and when it's done, you move on and you don't interact with it. And so it's very akin still to doing Podcast Beyond in 2007, 2008, when we had no idea if anybody was listening. Because as usual with anything on the internet, right? Usually you get feedback when people are angry. So you kind of forget that there's a whole bunch of people who just listen to it all the time and really enjoy it. So
yeah,
we can't thank you enough for, supporting Kind of Funny and letting us live this dream. And then, of course, tagging us today because it is one of those a lot of people listen to this.
And a lot of people like this stuff.
Yeah.
It's funny because I was having this conversation a couple weeks ago. So I did the wedding, right? I officiated the wedding. And thank you. I appreciate it.
Shirtless, too. It was great.
Yeah, it was fantastic. It felt really good breeze wearing that outfit. But I was talking to somebody afterwards where, I was joking around man, maybe I should just do this part-time, go around and officiate a bunch of weddings. Because the feeling I got after felt oh man, I got to perform for a bunch of people.
Sure.
80 people were in the audience watching, and afterwards people were complimenting me and all this stuff.
Yeah.
And it's funny how I felt it in that moment of, man, it feels good to perform. And I rarely feel that from doing one of these podcasts, because even though these podcasts are going out to way more people, right?
Yeah.
It's 80 people in that room for the wedding. It's thousands and thousands of people listening to this podcast. I rarely get the feedback. And so it is all right, I finish a podcast and then I go and I eat lunch and I don't even think about it really.
And
it is days like this where
you go, as soon as you're off camera, right? It's right back to, okay, well, not only your work day, what you need to review, it's, fuck, did I pay that bill? Did I do this thing? Oh shit, I got this trip coming. It's the real life thing. That's what I was talking about, where people oh, do you get nervous when you're on camera? Do you miss being on camera when you're on vacation? I'm I miss it all the time because it's so nice to have one thing to focus on. It's so nice to come out here and perform and do one thing rather than be caught up in the day-to-day, moment to moment.
How's your Spotify Wrapped? Do you like what you saw?
It was crushed. I put it. I'm gonna. See. Well, no, I don't have to, do I? So right now, ladies and gentlemen, I'll have you know, for some reason, I think maybe I need to update my Mac OS. I can't shoot Gregways over via AirDrop anymore. They've just stopped. So I'm doing it straight from my phone, uploading it, and it's a 20-minute Gregway, patreon.com/kindoffunny. So it's going to be slow going. So I don't want to break that. Thank you. Yeah, you got it up there. I have it too. My top artists: number 1, Taylor Swift, of course. Number 2, Charlotte Cardin. Number 3, Kelsey Ballerini. Number 4, Kylie Morgan, and then number 5, Paramore.
Oh,
remember I came on hot and heavy with Paramore at the middle of the year, and because
they dropped an album, right?
No, just their old shit is what I'm listening to.
Okay,
Misery Business and all that. I'm damn, I never gave these guys a full blown shot.
Paramore is trending, so I feel like Paramore might be one of the most listened to bands this year.
Am I tripping? Who am I thinking of that dropped an album? Was it
a lot of people? Taylor Swift did.
I mean, Taylor Swift definitely did.
Number 1 song, though, I do appreciate this. My top song was Witch Doctor. I told the witch doctor I was in love with you. Bum, 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 by David Seville. Remember, I have a 2-year-old, and there was a few months there where that's all he would listen to in the car rides, and we had to have it on repeat. So it was just Witch Doctor for 30 minutes at a time.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
People were saying Paramore did drop an album this year. Because I could have sworn, I could have sworn I listened to it, because I'm not a Paramore person, but I got into it a little bit this year with the new album, which might have been last year, I forget. But yeah, I listened to that. I'm not going to lie. I was a little bit disappointed with my Spotify Wrapped.
Really?
Yeah, because on the podcast side, I was happy with it. Because I
was standing in my podcast. Go ahead.
Yeah, I have my regulars, right? New Warrior Mall, I've been listening to for years. But the new additions would be Crash Dummies podcast with Pat and Mike, which is a really funny comedy podcast that I can't get enough of. The Ringerverse, which I referenced the other day. They have, it's the Ringer, the media outlet.
Yeah.
It's basically their grouping of podcasts that are all based on nerdy content and usually TV and movie reactions. So think of a Kind of Funny screencast or a Kind of Funny in review.
Okay.
But it's the Ringers version of it. And they have basically a bunch of podcasts within this podcast feed. And so in this one, they have the Midnight Boys, which does like,
Midnight Boys.
invincible reactions.
Oh, nice.
Low key reactions, like whatever the latest TV show, Gen V, they had that as well. And it was that three-peat of TV shows that got me into it. And then they also did the review of Scott Pilgrim Takes Off. And so like as I started listening to it, because I wanted something that I can debrief to, right? Like I need some kind of like conversation around the thing that I'm listening to. That's not kind of funny because I talk to you guys all the time. And like this was a great one. Like I like the vibe, I like the chemistry. It reminded me of listening to Kind of Funny back when I would listen more regularly. Like they have that kind of rapport. And so I've been enjoying the different podcasts in the Ringerverse. And then this past weekend with Theo Von. Funny enough, I only listened to like a couple episodes this year, but that was enough to get it on my top 5.
Do you have enough to talk? Can you toss mine on, Barrett? My top podcast. It's one image over on the tweet you had up for me or whatever, where it's the exact same thing you're talking about. Where there's the standard. Number 1, of course, is Death, Sex, and Money, a podcast I've talked about for years now, being my favorite, run by Anna Sale. Number 2, the Kind of Funny Xcast, where, of course, I got to keep an eye on what Gary Wood is saying. He's always up to something. This Paris Lily, I don't trust him. 3, Games Daily. 4, Insight with Chris Van Vliet. Now, this is a wrestling podcast. I'm shocked at this one because I thought Not Sam Wrestling would have cracked the top 5 for me, but I think it's that Chris does so many interviews and they're shorter that I think I just consumed more of those rather than the big chunks.
And that's my thing too, where I've talked about this podcast, The 7 from Washington Post, which is 7 news stories broken down in 7 minutes. And so I'm listening to this podcast every single day. Yeah. But I think because it's 7-minute episodes, the time isn't allotting to if I listen to 3 Theo Von podcasts, it's probably way longer.
NPR does the news on the hour. That's like, a 8 minutes to 7 minutes, probably something like that. 5-minute podcast. That's just like what they would play on NPR in between shows, but they put it up as a podcast. So I listened to that multiple times a day. So I was also shocked that wasn't there, but grand total time, right?
And then for my music, like I had like basically the artists that are usually there for my Spotify Raptor in there. Like I think I had Drake as my number 1, which kind of disappointed me because I talked a lot of shit on the album that he dropped this year, and then I listened to a lot of that album,
drinking it in.
And also, that's just your entire existence, Bless. You talk a lot of shit about Drake, but then I
keep listening to his music. But also, he drops so much music. He's dropped like 4 different times in the last 2 years.
That's too many.
And they're all different genres. Who
do you think you are? The
wait.
Beatles?
I'm sorry. Wait. Alex J. Sandoval in the YouTube chat. Where is Charlotte Cardin on your list, Greg? Alex, get here on fucking time. We're in the podcast section of my list. Charlotte Cardin is number 2 on my top artists. Fucking be here on time for this show.
Grow up,
idiot.
Fucking buy membership, gift sub, something or other. I don't know how that. It's only on YouTube today, and I'm not sure how it fucking works. Do something over there.
Get the membership.
God damn it!
I had Nas at my number 2, which I'm actually pretty happy about. J. Cole's in there. There's a rapper that I've listened to like for the last decade named Andy Mineo, who's like a Christian rapper, but I've kept listening to him because like he makes really good music. Like it's all
about Jesus.
Like half the time it's about Jesus, but the other half of the time he is talking about life and also like
biblically accurate Satan.
Biblically accurate Satan, but then also like a lot of like uplifting messages, and he's also really good at rapping and making music. And so like out of all the Christian rappers that I've dropped because I've stopped going to church in the last however many years, he's like stuck around because I'm like, oh, you actually make really good music, and you keep me grounded, you keep me connected to what's going on in the spiritual world. But yeah, like it's always fun looking at the Spotify rap. I am mad though that it cuts off I think mid-September or something, or maybe mid-October.
Yeah,
it cuts off too early.
Yeah,
because if it was caught up to like what I was listening to last week, there's no way. Like there's some albums that came out in the last month and a half that I've been binging.
That's it. So I didn't get to post the cool like looking Spotify rap because I don't have Spotify, but I have Apple Music, and I do think Apple Music tracks like up at like I think they're still tracking technically because if I look at like my top artists, my number 5 is Hot Mulligan, which I only started listening to them like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So that is a nice little bonus, and like their album that came out this year is already my 3rd most listened to album this year.
Oh yeah,
fucking rips.
Here's the thing, Darko in chat says no love for JPEG Mafia. Bless. If you go over to my Instagram, if you click through the stories, my top 5, I have a JPEG Mafia song. I have a JPEG Mafia song from like 4 years ago too.
Hell yeah.
I hate all these.
Grow up.
All these fucking losers.
All these kids,
you know,
man.
like
They don't
coming
know
up
what
in the
they're doing.
YouTube chat,
Get
thinking
it
they got a
together.
chance, just getting Sparta kicked back in the hole.
Before we actually get into today's stories, I want to bring up something from Snowbike Mike. I don't know if Snowbike Mike is listening to this show. If not, I'm trying to summon Snowbike Mike, and so I'm just gonna like put out the Snowbike Mike energy. Because as I was gathering the news stories, I saw a story on IGN. Oh, there he is. I saw a story on IGN that was like Tribes 3, new gameplay and screenshots revealed. And I saw that and I was like, oh, nobody cares. I don't know what this is.
Tribes 3,
yeah, I saw
bro.
that in my head. I was like, oh, it's like a Tribes of Midgard thing. Like, I don't care what the fuck this is. And then I saw you posted it in the Slack, and I was like, oh, why does Mike care about this Tribes thing? And then I saw you tweet about it, and I was like, oh, this is a first-person shooter?
Correct.
Can you
Old
tell me
school.
about Tribes? What is up with Tribes?
Yeah, this 90s, early 2000s first-person shooter game that one of my first PC games, bless. So this is why it's so near and dear to my heart.
This is where it all started going wrong for him.
It's like your Jet Force Gemini.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. And so this one is a very fast-paced, twitchy shooter, similar to like a Unreal Tournament and Quake type vibes where like you're freaking out on the screen, but it has like skiing / like a gliding mechanic. So you have a jetpack that you'll jump up in the air and then you'll glide off of a downhill surface and you'll fucking ski down and you're shooting at people. Tribes back in the day was the awesome game that I loved so much. Just like Unreal Tournament, fun, fast-paced, awesome team-based shooter.
Is it
Definitely
so?
keep an eye
It's
out.
crazy that they're making a third one.
Yeah, so I guess it's interesting. They made Tribes from like the 90s into the early 2000s, maybe like 2012, I said in the article on IGN. And there's a team under the banner. Someone will help me. There's like another studio that you're well familiar with. They came and made a little team under that umbrella, went off by themselves, and now they brought Tribes with them, and they're making the new Tribes.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. I'm happy.
Yeah, if you're looking for a good first-person shooter, keep your eye out on this. You can sign up for playtests right now, which I just did. And I think if they can really nail this, it will be a fun time. It looks like it's coming to consoles as well, so it's not just on PC. And if they can do more than 5v5, right now it's just 5v5, but I'm thinking if you can get up to like 12v12, kind of get some crazy action going on, this is going to be a really fun time. And I'm hoping to add another good first-person shooter to the lineup, Bless.
Oh yeah, Barrett, is this Tribes 3 or what is this? Something
Yeah, this
else?
is the playtest that they're showing. This is Tribes 3. So it's a little bit quieter, but you'll see him. He's flying around. He's using the ski mechanic and kind of getting all of that energy going. It's so cool, man.
Oh yeah, and I forget if did you say the developer? Is it
Yeah, I'm trying to
Hi-Res?
remember so
Hi-Res?
it's high-res, but it was a team under high-res.
Was Hi-Res? What did they do?
Smite.
Okay.
And they did...
They didn't do Splitgate.
Lethal Company.
Okay.
No, they did not do Splitgate. Yeah,
Gotcha.
not Splitgate.
Lethal Company. Okay, and that's the one that's hot right now that everybody's loving.
Lethal Company?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was that third person, or that was like over-the-shoulder third-person game that everybody enjoyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was
Okay.
cool.
Hell
Keep an
yeah.
eye out for this one.
Keep an eye out. Mike, thank you so much for the update.
Talk Xbox at the Game Awards soon.
We're about to talk about that too. You're about to get a lot of that because today's stories include Xbox appearing at the Game Awards, some big Sonic news, and more because this is Kinda Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday at 10 a.m. live right here on youtube.com/kindafunnygames and twitch.tv/kindafunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. If you're watching live, you can correct us when we get stuff wrong by going to kindafunny.com/you're wrong. If you don't want to watch live, you can watch later on youtube.com/kindafunnygames, or you can listen later on podcast services around the globe by searching for Kinda Funny Games Daily. Remember, you can use Epic Creator Code Kinda Funny on all Epic Store and Epic in-game purchases like Rocket League and Fortnite to help support the channel. To be a part of the show, head to kindafunny.com/KFGD to write in with your questions, squad ups, and more. And remember, patreon.com/kindafunny will get you the show ad-free, plus a bevy of bonus content. Before we even get into housekeeping, one thing I meant to bring up in the Spotify Wrapped conversation, right before the show, I was going through, because Spotify, if you go on your Spotify app, they'll give you these messages from artists.
Yeah.
That if you've listened to
I
like, a lot
got
of
one
the
from
music.
Taylor. No big deal, everybody.
I mentioned to you, I was like, oh, it's a bummer that we didn't get hit up to give messages to our listeners.
Sure.
Do you want to give a message to the listeners that have been like that have put us in their top 10, in their top 5?
That's a great idea.
Yeah, give Greg the one.
Hey, listeners, we just wanted to thank you so much for making us one of your top podcasts of the year on Spotify. If you enjoy what we do, why not head over to patreon.com/kindafunny, where, of course, you can get all the shows ad-free. I guess it would affect if we're your top podcast next year, but really, don't you think you owe it to us? You've been listening over here all free. Why not come over and pay me? Because if we're not here next year, it's really your fault, isn't it? Have you thought about that? Remember, whatever happens to me and my 2-year-old son in the next year is because of you and your lack of support or support. Do you want blood on your hands? Do you want to be the cause of another news story in the old newspaper that's talking about a man who lost it? I don't think so. Thanks for your support.
Not here next year. What am I going to do? Housekeeping for you. A new Gamescast is up, and it's our Game Awards winners predictions. That's up on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. As a reminder, you can still get Nerf Alice's iconic shirtless Spider-Man shirt as the premium collector's item this month. Get yours over on patreon.com/kindafunny. And then ever wondered how weird Greg was as a kid? Well, now we have a definitive answer. The second episode of Greg's childhood home videos is live right now on youtube.com/kindafunny.
Look at this kid.
Look at this. Oh, you're doing
Could you
the disco
imagine
dance.
this would be, this is after I time traveled back to the 70s in my aunt and uncle's bathroom.
All right, then. Yeah, you can go check that out. youtube.com/kindafunny. And also, if you want all the episodes,
this is straight out of The Dark Knight.
Did you knock out the camera?
That was me time traveling. That was the time travel. That's
man,
me
look
time
at
traveling
that.
again.
Did you say this straight out of The Dark Knight?
Yeah, remember when he's like, I'm a man of my word.
Oh, yeah. I thought you implied that there was time travel in The Dark Knight. I was like, fuck, I got to go watch that movie again. But yeah, if you want all the episodes, they're live right now on patreon.com/kindafunny. Otherwise, you can wait for them to come out weekly right here on youtube.com/kindafunny. I guess right over there at youtube.com/kindafunny, because right now we're on Kinda Funny Games. You get what I mean? The KFW season finale, SLAMSGIVING, is live after KFGD only on youtube.com/kindafunnygames. Of course, thank you to our Patreon producers, Jackson Hampton and Delaney Twining. Today we're brought to you by Shady Rays, but we'll tell you about that later. For now, let's begin with what is, and forever will be, the Roper Report. It's time for some news. We have 9 stories today.
God damn.
A baker's dozen.
A high story count, which means I probably shouldn't have wasted so much time at the front of the show.
No,
but hey,
we're
having a
having
good time.
fun.
We're having fun. Story number 1. Xbox confirms plans to appear at the Game Awards after last year's no-show. This is Taylor Lyles at IGN. After a noticeable absence last year, Microsoft confirms that Xbox will have some news to share at this year's Game Awards. In an email sent out to some, including IGN, Microsoft confirmed that it won't be a no-show again at the 2023 ceremony, teasing fans that there will be major announcements and more Xbox news you won't want to miss. While Microsoft did not explicitly say what type of Xbox news would be at the event, the company has many games in development, and it recently acquired Activision Blizzard after a lengthy process. Xbox's biggest reveal from the Game Awards 2021 was a sizable gameplay trailer for Hellblade 2: Senua's Saga. But with the studio having several games in development, including Avowed, Stalker 2, Everwild, State of Decay 3, Hellblade 2: Senua's Saga, and a Fable reboot, it's really hard to pinpoint whether it will share updates for all or some of these games, or if Xbox plans to announce an entirely new game. Greg, what do you think?
Updates.
Updates?
I mean, I won't say there's not a chance of a new game. Obviously, there could be a chance of a new game. This is just exciting. This is what we want from Game Awards, right? Jeff's out here saying they're not going to say world premieres anymore. We all get scared.
Mm-hmm.
What are we getting into? What are we going to do in LA when we're there? Drunk off our asses in the crowd.
Very drunk.
Me, head on a swivel.
Yeah.
No one's getting on stage this year.
Oh,
all right?
Are you the beefed up security?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I'm the sleeper agent out there. Jeff's going to whisper, activate my Division watch, and I'm going to be ready to go. I'll be activated. This is a reference to the Ubisoft Division, Tom Clancy's Division.
I do not remember the watches in Division 2.
All these people were secret Division agents, right? Even to their husbands and kids and stuff. And then the thing would go off and I gotta go.
Wait,
they were
really?
just like, yeah, this is the actual plot line of the Division. They were among you as teachers.
Did I
and
skip every
bakers
cutscene?
and I mean, it's the first cutscene in the game.
In the first division or the
and
second?
the second one. Yeah, they go into this whole
I definitely
thing.
do not remember any cutscene from the division. I
Damn.
just remember exploring the museums.
At some point, Barrett, when you're done showing this, I need you to showing your dragons here, your little dragon
I'm
game.
just saying,
Scalebound?
maybe they re-announced Scalebound.
Oh, I would love
Maybe.
if they re-announced Scalebound. Oh man, I do not remember Scalebound looking this rough.
You go get that Division opening cutscene though, and you find that watch going off, and them leaving because there's either a mom. I think it's a mom just setting the table. She's like, "Oh fuck y'all, I gotta go save the world." You know what I mean?
Division 1 or Division 2?
Division 1, I believe, is that when that one is.
Division 1 opening cutscene.
Anyways, though, this is exciting. This is cool. My hope, because I think that it makes more sense to hope right now than anything else. My hope would be Fable. My actual bet would be Hellblade.
Again?
Yeah. And maybe put a date on it. Maybe do something. You know what I mean? Maybe not just show the big baby chasing or whatever. But I think there's now a lineage with Game Awards and Hellblade, right? I feel like that was where it originally got announced. It feels like it would make sense to come back here and debut something here. Did you scrub ahead, or is this just from the start?
Yeah, this is near the end.
Oh yeah. See, look at the watch about to go off.
What the fuck?
Well, see you later, honey. I gotta go stop the dollar plague, the dollar flu.
Wait, so in the story of the division, because the whole thing is the dollar flu, right? Where was it terrorist? Was it
Yeah, terrorist attack.
Yeah.
Look at this man. He's a fireman. He's about to go be a fireman. He's like, I gotta go.
Like somebody's just sitting there with their house
Look
on
at this.
fire.
Daddy, can you read me a story? I gotta go fucking
Like,
shoot.
Why is my house still on fire? It's been
I gotta
5
go
hours.
shoot a bunch of guys
Somebody
in gas
come
masks.
put out my house.
I'm leaving a bar to go do this.
A person's drunk as fuck, about to go stop
Yeah,
the
right.
terrorists. It's like I just drank 3 Moscow Mules in a row, and I gotta go stop.
Oh
the
fuck! He's
But so did they know the dollar flu was gonna happen, or is
No.
it just like
they're like the last. I forget. Like there's a whole thing there. It's like they're the
like
last
S.H.I.E.L.D.
line of defense, and you know if it they're like they only would get called out in the worst thing of all time.
do you think we have that in real life?
No, I think we've shown time.
That'd
and
be
time
really
again.
cool if like your watch started glowing a weird color, and
Yeah.
you just got up and left, and I'm like. Me and Barrett's like, what the fuck is Greg going to do? And then like 5 hours later, we see on YouTube just saving all of us from the terrorists.
Sure, that'd be awesome.
That'd be really cool.
That'd be really cool.
Yeah, I mean, I think Hellblade is a safe bet, just because you're right in terms of the lineage of Hellblade being at the Game Awards. Like, I feel like any update we've gotten on Hellblade has been at the Game Awards. I'm a little bit tired of it, but I guess it would make sense. And especially if it has a release date, I think that would be the final stamp of, all right, like, you got the reveal, you got the cool gameplay trailer, you got the FMV trailer thing that they did, and now here is the release date, and it's out in the first half of next year. I think that'll be a dream scenario. I also think that's the other thing is I think what are Xbox's plans for the first half of 2024, right? I don't think we're going to go through the first half of 2024 without having something that is first party, and maybe it's a year wrong. Do they even have anything announced currently? I've not looked at the slate for Xbox, but if not, I would think that, yeah, you're putting out something in the first 6 months, and I would think, yeah, Hellblade would make sense. I don't know if there's anything else. Like Avowed doesn't feel like it's around the corner.
No.
Fable doesn't feel like it's around the corner.
Sadly,
Outer Worlds
no.
2 does not feel like it's around the corner.
Sadly, no.
Yeah, so that's a tough one to figure out. Like,
I think
maybe Starfield DLC.
I was gonna say, well, I think we are in that place where you could do Starfield DLC. You could announce an expansion there, and what that's gonna look like. That could be a fun one to go for. I know that I am in a minority. It's a smaller game. I'm excited for State of Decay 3. I love State of Decay as a franchise. Didn't love State of Decay 2, but I'm excited to see what their next one would be.
Yeah.
We have
Howard.
Still Like Mike, the host of the Xcast, waiting in the wings. I believe on no. Was it yesterday on the post show, or was somebody else talk? Yeah. We talked a little bit about Gears yesterday, didn't we? Like with that, you think there's going to be a
is it
chance of
time?
Gears out there?
Yeah, of course, we're going to talk about this on the XCast. It's just a big Xbox day today for all of us here. Kind of funny, but
It's glowing green.
yeah, it's pretty exciting to think about what is at the TGAs. And yeah, when we talk about Gears, right, I think the big teaser that you would put out there is Gears 6, right? Even if it's just a splash screen with the cool COG logo and 6 next to it, it is time to probably get the Xbox fans really excited about another tentpole title for your franchises, and it is that Gears one.
Yeah.
The opposite side would be like, is that Marcus Phoenix collection, aka the Gears collection, actually real? Would we ever see that? We've gone back and forth on like rumors of it is real. No, it's not real. It's not happening, right? But I think a Gears announcement for Gears 6 is the correct move, just a small teaser. But if you were to get a Marcus Phoenix collection, that would be a big win in the Gears world. When I think of Undead Labs and State of Decay, I don't think we'll see that. I think that is a game that is in probably some problems. We saw that the studio had some issues
Who's this?
just last year. Undead Labs and State of
Thank you.
Decay.
Yeah.
So I
the
don't think
founder
we will
left,
see
right?
that one anytime soon. Hellblade 2, like you said,
Yeah.
this has to have a date. It is time to put a date on that, and that it
Is
had
that
a
first
long
half
journey.
of next year?
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay.
I think it will be first half. Some other ones that I have down, I know Greg brought up Fable. I think Fable would be a big win, but it's not on my big 3 guaranteed. It's on my maybes.
But I want it.
I know
I
you
didn't
want it.
guarantee it either. I said I want it.
Yeah, I like that. I mean, things that I want, a Doom teaser, right? Like,
So-
what is the next id project, right? And is it the Doom prequel? Will we see Doom here?
Yeah.
It's on my maybe.
This is what I've been thinking about in regards to announcing new stuff from Xbox at a Game Awards or at a non-Xbox event. Now that Xbox has so many studios, like maybe twice as much, if not more, studios than a PlayStation, right, or a Nintendo, I would think that you need more than an Xbox showcase to talk about all your plans, right? Like, I don't know if you can condense all of your plans into a Xbox E3 showcase because, like, there's just so much to talk about, right? Like, now that it is Activision, Bethesda, and Xbox Game Studios, I don't think that you want to sprinkle around to other things and figure out how to, pace it all out around the year.
Yeah, that's very well said. And you saw that last year, right? We saw Xbox try to branch out and try some other ideas, right? With that indie developer direct. They had that Xbox Direct as well, along with the summer one. So they've done other showcases. But I think At the TGAs this year, you will see 3 Xbox-centric announcements. I have 3 small ones here, but I do not think you see anything Activision Blizzard King. We still need that, hey, here's our sit-down, right? This is what we're going to do. I don't think we'll see a family plan for Game Pass, even though, man, Game Pass is getting expensive, and it's time to have a conversation about Game Pass over there. Games like Contraband, where you team up with Avalanche Studios, right? It's like, where does that fall? I think that's a summer announcement type vibe. Perfect Dark is a weird one because we know that Perfect Dark has gone up and down. That would be a win in the Game Awards, but I do feel like that's a summertime thing that we will probably see that big deep dive. Indiana Jones would be another win as well, but like, where does that fall? I think that's a summertime thing.
Give it to me.
Far out, right?
Indeed.
What about IO Interactive, their fantasy game that they're working on with Xbox?
Project Dragon or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they have a new name for that one, but I actually want to see James Bond. I think James
that'd
Bond,
be sick.
That's not Xbox centric, but man, if you put on that James Bond intro and was like, yo,
Game Awards
here
feels
it is.
right for that.
Game Awards feels quite right. And then another fun one for you. We talked about it just recently. Of course, the Fallout television show. You could easily play a trailer for that at the Game Awards.
That'd be dope.
That would be a big win.
You said no Activision King. Do you think not even something from Diablo maybe glancing at their expansion?
I mean, maybe the next season. I think the expansion is too far out, and that's a summertime thing. So I don't think you'll see anything Diablo. You go down the list, right? Like Call of Duty. What do you want to see the next Call of Duty? Warzone 3.0? Maybe. I don't think it's time yet for that either. So I think that Activision Blizzard King deal is too early to see anything significant out of that. I think they'll focus on the bigs that they have here, and that is Gears, Hellblade. I would like to see a new Xbox Elite Series 3 controller that would rival the DualSense with the features that everybody loves.
Impossible.
But I do think it is time to upgrade that hardware.
Is it? Oh.
You try to go after the DualSense, Jim Ryan will see you in court.
Well, speaking of on that, right? The last thing I'll throw out there for prediction. Is it possible we see that new slate that was leaked in the court documents? You know, them talking about the Xbox Series,
the mid-gen updates,
the circular, like the cylinder-shaped one they were talking about like updating the controllers to have some of the DualSense type features.
Exactly,
too.
they did. I do not want to see that at the Game Awards.
No?
I would like that to be a summertime thing. If we're gonna talk anything hardware, it would be the Elite Series 3. That's all I want to see.
Okay.
I don't want to get into mid-gen at the TGAs.
TJ's is where we got the first look at the Xbox Series X, right?
You did.
It's crazy.
So yeah, that was crazy.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of options. We're going to talk about it here on the Xcast. Of course, you can write in kindafunny.com/Xcast anytime throughout today. I'll get you in the show. Give us your perfect Xbox TGAs. I'll let these guys keep talking.
There you go. Let's continue on. Or we're just gonna leave this mic here. Let's continue on with story number 2. I mean, it's all good. I was gonna let Greg figure it out. Story number 2, publisher confirms TimeSplitters studio faces closure before Christmas. This is Andy Robinson at Video Games Chronicle. TimeSplitters studio, Free Radical Design, faces closure before Christmas. Publisher PlayOn has privately acknowledged. VGC reported earlier this month that Free Radical was at threat of being closed just 2 years after it was established as part of huge company-wide cuts at Embracer and its owned publishers. Although Embracer has yet to publicly confirm Free Radical's position, sources told VGC that PlayOn has now acknowledged in a company email that the Nottingham, UK-based company would be closed on December 11th, following the completion of a consultation process. Quote, as we move through the consultation process and face the potential closure of Free Radical Design on December 11th, 2023, I want to express my gratitude for your commitment and remarkable work you've done and still keep doing, wrote PlayOn VP, Worldwide Studios and Talent, Lars Jansen.
I'm Lars Jansen.
Why are there so many people named Lars that work under Embracer? Are they clones? These is all Lars Wingforce
I think it's,
clones.
You're being very culturally insensitive right now.
You're right.
They look over here like, why are there so many Mikes?
Why are there so many Sams over there?
Why are there so many goddamn Toms in America?
That's fair.
This fucking sucks, of course. I feel like we have had I was going to say a week, but it's been a month. It's been a year, obviously, of layoffs. And I mean, take it even away from just the, 8,000 layoffs that we were talking about yesterday in the video game industry and just bring it to Embracer Group, right? Since that, distressing financial call the morning after everything fell apart. We knew this was what was going to happen. We know that this was how it's going to shake out, and this is how it will continue to shake out until we get to whatever the conclusion of this is going to be. I do not believe that Embracer has the roadmap or skill to get out of this.
Yeah.
I think that they are going to continue to close things down. The studios that they purchased and the people's lives they gambled with will continue to be the ones impacted until this gets to such a small thing that they're able to sell it off to somebody else or do whatever and get out of it. But I don't think Embracer, they don't have a GTA 6 up their sleeve somewhere that's going to be the one to reinvigorate
all they
the
have
stock
is
price.
Lord of the Rings, right? Which they've talked about, like, we got to exploit Lord of the Rings. But I think for how big of a company Embracer is and for how many companies are under Embracer, I think you're going to need way more than Lord of the Rings to keep all that afloat, right? As we're seeing,
Unless you get the company very small.
yeah, unless you get the company very small, which they're doing, right? They're closing down Volition. They're seemingly going to close down Free Radical. And it sucks to see, like, yeah, like the future of a lot of IP or a lot of franchises that either already exist and we love, or we're in the process of re-existing. In the case of a TimeSplitters, where I'm not a TimeSplitters person, but I know so many people that are TimeSplitters people, and it sucks to get this, get the promise of, oh man, we're gonna see this thing again. I'm excited to see what that can be in 2023, and then 2 years into the studio's founding, and like not even having the chance to release anything, right?
Yep.
2 years of work just out the window because you made a bad deal as Embracer. That fucking sucks. But yeah, like I think we're gonna continue to get these stories. I just hope that, like, I don't know, man. Like, I hope that it isn't everything's gone. Like, I hope this isn't the Thanos snap of every studio, every company that's under Embracer. Because I look at Crystal Dynamics, I look at Eidos, I look at so many studios that I love, and already Volition, already a studio that I love, right, has gone away.
Yeah.
I hope that this doesn't affect them in a way that is devastating to these studios.
Yeah, when you get to something like that, when you're talking about a Crystal, when you're talking about something that has established IP that is successful, you know what I mean? Like, and this is a very callous analogy, but stick with me.
Mm-hmm.
It reminds me, of Embracer's position right now, it reminds me of playing Monopoly. And when you turn that corner and you start to mortgage, in this case, close all the studios that aren't Boardwalk and Park Place, right? That aren't your big ones that have your hotels and whatever. And then really what it's going to be is selling back those things to try to get to where you are. And so they're going to hold on to the big IP and the big studios for as long as they possibly can, because those are the ones they're banking onto. Well, if we can get the Tomb Raider out, that right is being co-published by Amazon. I forget the deal that Amazon has with it, right? But there's money to be made there. There's something happening there. There is a game and an IP that people care about that are right there. You can get down to having a Crystal, and you can get down to having Lord of the Rings, and you can hopefully be banking on. When they start selling those off, that's when it's really the writing's on the wall that this is the end. At least as I would say, as we know them. But do we really fucking know Embracer?
No.
All we've known about Embracer is they buy weird ass shit and expect this to make money.
And they
somehow.
put out the weirdest AA games like that do not feel of this era.
They
right?
listen
They
to
put
a
out Saints
podcast
Row
where
or
I'm like,
Saints
I
SpongeBob.
love Kingdoms of Amalur, and they're like, we bought it, we're putting it out, and we're making a DLC for it. I'm like, that doesn't sound like a good idea.
It's like, all right, I guess.
Whoa.
Yeah,
That's
it's like, we're gonna put out Darksiders, and it's like, all right, cool. Like, a lot of people like Darksiders, but isn't that weird? Like, it's like, where are these decisions coming from? But yeah, we'll continue to see what is up with Embracer. Let's talk about Sega and Sonic and some news that excites me. But before we get there, I want to tell you about patreon.com/kindafunny. Over on patreon.com/kindafunny, you can get the show ad free. And speaking of ads, let us tell you about our sponsors.
This episode is brought to you by Shady Rays. 'Tis the season of giving. Get the perfect gift for a special someone, yourself, or both. Our friends at Shady Rays have you covered with premium polarized shades and quick swap snow goggles that won't break the bank. Shady Rays is an independent sunglasses company that offers an unrivaled product that's just as good as any expensive pair that we've worn. Durable frames and world-class optics for all outdoor adventures. With an extensive array of styles and colors, you're bound to find the perfect pair of Shady Rays sunglasses. You already know I've been out Pokemon going, and Shady Rays have been making me look as dope as I want out in the real world. And that's not all. If you lose or break your pair, even on day one, they told us they will send you a brand new pair, no questions asked. Shady Rays is currently in their biggest sale of the year for Black Friday. Don't miss out on the best deals for shades, snow goggles, and prescription sunglasses. You can go to shadyrays.com and try for yourself the shades rated 5 stars by over 250,000 people. Again, that's shadyrays.com for their biggest sale of the year.
And we're back with story number 3. Sega says Yakuza and Persona mobile games may be coming, plus a Sonic and Angry Birds crossover. This is
There
Chris
we go.
Scullion
That's what I was looking
at
for.
Video Games Chronicle.
Love it.
Sega says Yakuza and Persona mobile games could be on the way. As reported by mobilegamer.biz, Sega's CEO co-COO. The way it's written,
I hear you.
The COCOO, Shuji Utsumi, appeared at the RovioCon event in Helsinki today to discuss Sega's mobile future following its acquisition of Angry Birds
Would you
Studio.
be stoked to go to the
Rovio.
RovioCon if I was
This is an insane sentence. The co-COO of Sega went to RovioCon in Helsinki to discuss Sega's mobile
Hell
future.
yeah.
After acquiring Angry Birds Studio. Utsumi reportedly said that new Angry Birds animated projects are in production and that new Rovio games are in development for PC and console. He also made a reference to Sonic and Angry Birds crossover, joking that the two IPs were currently dating.
Oh!
Yeah, dating is in quotes.
Whoa.
Moving on to mobile.
Is it serious?
I mean,
I mean,
we'll
they're
see.
about to have a child, it sounds like.
Yeah.
Shit.
Moving on to mobile. I hope they're married. Moving on to mobile games. Utsumi said that by merging with Rovio, Sega is able to expand its own range of mobile games, which could lead to mobile versions of some of its other IPs. Quote, currently Sega and Rovio have been working on new mobile projects based on our own IP, but Sonic is not the only IP to benefit from the mobile platform expansion. It'll be a potential strong tailwind for other key Sega IP, such as Yakuza and Persona, end quote. When it originally announced in April that it planned to acquire Rovio, Sega said it wanted to bring the Angry Birds Studio on board to bolster its own live service mobile game portfolio. According to its statement at the time, Sega wanted to use Rovio's distinctive know-how in live service mobile game operation to bring Sega's current and new titles to the global mobile gaming market, where there is large potential, end quote. There's a lot to dig into here. First, I want to say that I called this shit.
The first thing to dig into, Blessing was right.
I was right. When they acquired Rovio and the Angry Birds thing, the first thing I jumped to was, hey, they're gonna do an Angry Birds and Sonic crossover, and they're talking about doing an Angry Birds and Sonic crossover. They're dating, and it's gonna happen.
It's gonna bear fruit, as they say.
It's gonna be weird. We're gonna get through this together.
Is it gonna be weird?
Yes, I don't know how it's not gonna be weird. I imagine what I imagine is a mobile Sonic Angry Birds game, right? You're flinging. I've never played Angry Birds, but I imagine that you're flinging the birds at structures and taking down the structures, right? Is that it?
Yeah, that's how.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So I imagine you're doing that, but with Sonic, right?
I
Sonic's
feel like
balled up.
Bless started this off. I've never played Angry Birds.
And then it was like,
Just
here's
to get
exactly.
away
And there's
from the
pigs, right?
allegations.
There's some pigs. I'm knocking down their
Yeah.
house and I'm doing the thing.
Here's the name of all the pigs. I'm pretty sure. I'm not super.
I watched the
familiar.
movie, but I've never played the
If
game.
you asked me if there were pigs and Angry Birds, I wouldn't be able to tell you. But anyway, it's Sonic. Here's what you're doing, right? You're flinging back Sonic, and you're aiming him at a bunch of rings. And the more rings you collect, the better you do, the higher your score. And you can like pay money to maybe like, I don't know, get Sonic's friends and like their information. And so you fling all of them at the same time to get more rings. And the more you collect rings, the better your score, right?
Yeah.
That's first and foremost. Secondly, oh, what is this?
This
This is disgusting.
Sonic
Barrett.
as a pig from Angry Birds, and then this is Sonic as an Angry Bird.
How's that make you feel?
I don't like it.
Here,
not gonna lie.
Barrett, I'm sending you. I'm just gonna shout it into assets. I can't. Oh,
He's
no,
gonna
there's
shout it
assets.
into
There it is. Okay, throw this up because the problem is already you're dreaming too big. Now, granted, maybe this is their chance of like, hey, you know what? Let's do this right. A lot of years have passed. I just sent Barrett the trailer for Angry Birds Star Wars, or not trailer. I'm sorry, gameplay of it to show you what the game looks like. All they did is like take Angry Birds and then make them look like the pigs are just dressed like sand people. He kind of looks like Luke.
Oh yeah, in the background.
That's all it is. Like it's not like so like you're like, oh, they're gonna the thing you saw there where Sonic was the bird. That's exactly what it's gonna look like. Now again,
Dream bigger.
I know maybe this will be the turnaround. But Angry Birds, remember when that was the biggest thing for like a while
And it's about to be the biggest thing again.
with Sonic?
Yeah, like the fact that you're partnered up with Sonic, I think it's a partnership that it just fucking prints success. You know what I mean? Like they're printing money with this thing. And so yeah, I think in one of the upcoming Sonic movies, I don't know, maybe it's the Knuckles spin-off series, you're gonna run into an Angry Bird.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's
gonna happen.
That is a big call.
That's gonna happen. And yeah, there's gonna be a lot to come out of that.
Is Angry Birds still a huge deal? Because for a while there, I mean, you're talking like outrageous.
I mean, I imagine it's still big enough.
I think.
I don't think it's at its peak.
Yeah,
Sure.
Roblox took over the world for the kids. You know?
Yeah.
Like Roblox has had the world taken over though. Like Roblox, I'm pretty sure it was before Angry Birds even. It's just been in the ether, just printing money as well.
But Not at the same level as it is now.
I think it maybe has. Like Roblox, I remember like I feel like 7 years ago.
In early
Roblox was
2019,
already
several
huge.
games in the franchise, including the original title, were unexplainably removed from the App Store and Google Play. Fans of the original game adopted the hashtag #BringBack2012 to demand the relisting of the removed games. Responding to the campaign, Rovio explained the removal of the games in a blog post citing software rot and the expiration of licensing deals. On March
Wes, do you know
31st,
how old Angry
2022,
Birds is?
Rovio released a new version of the original game titled Rovio Classics Angry Birds, marketed to its older fan base.
Yeah, I guess I don't know. Angry Birds was like
It's been
what
around for, like,
2011,
15
20
years. Yeah, at this point.
I guess, yeah. My thing is Roblox is. I guess Roblox sure came into more popularity mid 2010s,
Yeah.
but I don't think it was Roblox that came and stole Angry Birds Thunder. Like I think
mean,
those are
maybe,
two
though.
completely different things.
Maybe. You never know.
I mean, the kids love both, but like I think Angry Birds being such a mobile game, and when I picture people playing Roblox, I picture them on Xbox, I picture them on PC.
Isn't it also a mobile thing?
It probably is. I don't know, but I feel like it's more of a. I would. This is me talking on my ass, right? But like, I don't know if Roblox came to mobile and then took the Angry Birds audience. I think like I think the order of operations is like mixed up there. That said, right, like I also think that other mobile games came through and probably like I think it was Fortnite, it was Call of Duty Mobile, it was like a bunch of things coming through and Genshin Impact and changing like what the mobile landscape looked like. I could see that happening and Angry Bird kind of like falling into the background. But Angry Birds, I think my other thing with Angry Birds is that it wasn't just kids, right? Like Angry Birds, I put in the same category as a Candy Crush or whatever, where like
That's
moms
where
are
I think it
playing
is, where Angry Birds, you're talking about like who stole Angry Birds Thunder. I don't even know if it's that as much as the app marketplace and the app games on the App Store just diversified and became no insults, but real games, fuller games. There's other things to do. Yeah, you could you could still play Bejeweled and Candy Crush and Angry Birds, but there were deeper experiences if you want to go. There is a Roblox, Minecraft's out there. Like, the kids and that kind of thing. Like, I still think the ease of playing Angry Birds, whether you're young or old, right, is there, but it is that idea as a kid might want a more deeper experience or a different thing or a licensed thing or whatever the next big franchise is they're playing. And Fortnite, of course, and everything else.
Yeah, I'm also curious about the Yakuza and Persona mobile game stuff. The Persona mobile game, Barrett, you can like fill me in, but like I'm pretty sure that was already announced to some extent, at least as a project name, right?
I don't know if I was showing the gameplay earlier of the Phantom X, which is released in China and is slowly coming to other territories. I don't think that's part of the Rovio thing, but I just found it funny of the way they worded it, where they're like, "Oh yeah, Persona will get mobile games." Like, well, Persona's had mobile games.
Yeah, Persona's is already getting mobile games, right? It seems like this new
PlayStation
one.
Vita, never forget.
The next Persona mobile game. It seems like it's going to come out in the West not too long from now. But yeah, I'm curious to see what the potential of that is, right? Like as long as they do it justice. I'm such not a mobile game person, and so I couldn't care less. But I still go back to what our conversations have been for the last few weeks when it is, me and Mike talking about Ultimate Sackboy and how I'm like, I feel like that's the bare minimum that I want. Like that is like such a basic way to do it, and like it's fine, it's whatever. But if you're to look at Yakuza and go, all right, what do people like about Yakuza? Is it the activities? Is it the mini games? Can we take mini games and put them onto the mobile thing and make that a fun thing? I think that could be cool. If you are looking at Persona and going, what if we made a Persona Q style game or a Persona Tactica style game and made that a mobile thing? I think those could be the directions you take, but we'll have to wait and see how they treat it.
We will.
For now, let's see right now what Shadow the Hedgehog looks like in the Sonic the Hedgehog 3 movie. This is story number 5. Sonic the Hedgehog 3 reveals its first look at Shadow. This is tweeted out by Jeff Fowler, who's working on the movie. He tweeted out, off and running. Running is in all caps. # Sonic Movie 3, only in theaters, December 20th, 2024. We got a nice little shot of Shadow's feet.
Now, this isn't Idris Elba and his show.
No.
Okay.
So Idris Elba,
He's
Knuckles, and it seems like he's going to have a Knuckles spin-off thing.
Not it seems right. They were filming that, right, or working on it before the strike or whatever.
It was reported. I forget if it was ever officially confirmed. That can be kindoffunny.com/you're wrong.
It had to have been officially confirmed.
But no, this is going to be the actual movie because if you remember, I'm going to spoil Sonic the Hedgehog 2.
Please do.
Y'all. All right. At the end of Sonic the Hedgehog 2, the post credits, you get the first look at Shadow the Hedgehog. He's in like this container. He's being created, or maybe he's just like, I don't know, in this hyperbolic time chamber. I can't tell. But you see Shadow the Hedgehog, which implies that Shadow's going to be one of the main antagonists. Protagonists, anti-heroes, we'll see in Sonic the Hedgehog 3.
You and me are at the Game Awards in LA next week.
Yes.
1 week from tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We've already drank our faces off with Phil Spencer. We're there, sitting through the thing. Idris Elba goes up. He wins best performance, right?
Yeah.
We go to the after party. Idris is there. He's got his. You walking up and you asking some questions about Sonic? Is that where you're starting? You gonna start with some Cyberpunk?
I'm not gonna start. I'm gonna get to Sonic.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna start with Sonic. I'm gonna start with Luther because I'm such a big Luther fan.
Sure.
And be like, yo, that movie. I'm gonna lie to him. And be like, yo, that movie, the Luther movie from last year, fantastic.
What if he immediately is like, nah, it sucked. I know.
I'm
it
like,
sucked.
nah, you're right. It sucked. Yeah, I'm with you. I lied to you. But that's first and foremost. I'm gonna talk to him about Luther, and then, I think then I immediately get to Sonic. I'll be like, so yeah, like you know.
You gotta
I think-
say something about Cyberpunk. You love Cyberpunk.
Yeah, I think I parlay it into a video game conversation because I think talking to Idris Elba, I'm nervous, right? And like when I'm nervous, what's the right thing to do is to find a conversation I know I'm comfortable with having, right?
Yeah.
So like that's video games. I can talk about video games all day, and so I think it then becomes like, yo, man, like you've been in the games, like in the game sphere for a minute. Like you've been doing Sonic, you've been doing Cyberpunk. Like how's that going for you? And like I parlay, and then the more we get into that conversation, the more I'm like, all right, so what's up with the Knuckles TV show? Like, you know, it's gonna get multiple seasons. Like, what's the word? Like, what's the secrets? Like, tell me. Yeah.
I appreciate that. That's some number one journalist right there. You know what I mean?
Thank you. What celebrities do you plan to talk to at the Game Awards?
I don't know who's gonna be there. Al Pacino was there last year. I didn't see that coming.
I mean, well, we know Idris is there. I could have sworn.
Do we know Idris is there? Is that confirmed?
I guess
He's
not.
nominated. I don't think it's been confirmed he's there.
Yeah, I guess
Jeff hasn't
he's
started
gonna be
doing the Muppets are here and Weezer's here and all that jazz yet.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I guess. I'm going to circle back to this question.
What band is going to be
next
there
week.
this year?
I hope it's not Imagine Dragons.
I'm going to toss out. No, that's too
What
bad.
what song did Imagine Dragons do this year? Was it
Starfield.
Oh.
Children of the
Oh,
sky.
shit.
Yeah, so
they are gonna be there.
There's a non-zero chance that we see Imagine Dragons.
I
Somebody in
would,
chat says the
love
old
a
gods of
band
Asgard.
from that was featured in
Oh,
Hi-Fi
if they got
Rush.
old gods of Asgard, come on.
That'd be sick. That'd be sick as hell. What'd you say, Barrett?
Like one of the bands featured in Hi-Fi Rush, I think would be sick.
Oh yeah, that'd be really cool.
Yeah,
give me,
Old
like-
Gods of Asgard is a good one.
Give me like the Star Wars band that plays. Yeah. Since we got a Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yep, that'll probably, you nailed that.
Yeah.
So that'll be that. Right.
Oh, there's the name of the actual band that did like an original Star Wars song for the first one. I forget what they were called, but they kick ass.
Blink 182.
Yeah,
no.
probably Blink 182.
Fall Out Boy.
No, it was not
3 Days
It
Grace.
was not a band from America.
Skillet.
Not a band from
Alright.
America.
1,000 Foot Crutch.
Okay, you're
The
you're done.
Beatles.
Who do you want to voice Shadow?
Oh, great question.
Oh, that's a really good question.
Andy.
Yeah, I would like Andy to do it. Ooh. I don't know, dude.
I mean, I've got an answer right next to you, man.
Oh my god. Could you imagine? Shadow comes up and he's like, "Hey man." Somebody says Keanu. Keanu would be really cool.
Ooh.
Keanu Reeves Shadow the Hedgehog would actually be perfect.
He sounds, I don't know.
Like Shadow has to be serious. He has to be a bit like,
Young Keanu, I feel like, could do Shadow.
yeah. Somebody says Ben Starr. That'd be fun, but like I don't think I want Shadow with like, I don't want Shadow sounding like Clive. You know what I mean? Like I don't want Shadow with a British accent, even though I think he might. I don't even know. It's been a while
Play
since I
around
listened
with
to Shadow.
different voices. It's not like it's just his one voice.
That's true. Jason Statham says somebody in chat. Jason Statham would be great actually.
Will Arnett.
Yeah. Moving on. I could have sworn I had 3 Sonic stories. No, I guess we had 3 Sega stories. I
you
skipped story number
one.
4. That's what happened. Story number 4, Sega says Sonic Superstars had a weaker start than anticipated.
Oh,
this is Chris
no.
Scullion at Video Games Chronicle. Sega has stated that Sonic Superstars didn't sell as well as it had hoped during its release period. During a financial results briefing presentation held this month, Sega Sammy Holdings president and group CEO Haruki Satomi said the game had a weaker start than Sega had planned, but hoped that things would eventually pick up. Quote, Sonic Superstars was released in October, which is a slightly weaker start than we had anticipated, Satomi said. But in reality, when Sonic IP sells the most is mainly November to December, and more than 90% of this title's marketing costs will be spent in the Thanksgiving and holiday season from November onwards. In a Q&A session following the presentation, Satomi was asked why he felt Sonic Superstars sales had been lower than expected. Quote, we believe that the impact of other companies' major titles released at the same time is significant, but we plan to expand the promotion towards the holiday season, especially in the overseas market, Satomi said. If you remember, Sonic Superstars.
If you remember, what do you got for me? What do I need to remember?
It came out
about
at the exact same time as Mario Wonder and Spider-Man.
I do remember that actually.
You know, a couple maybe the same day as Hot Wheels Unleashed. like a week before Alan Wake 2.
Not the best move.
Yeah, especially with Mario. I think you could have gotten away with releasing at the same time as Spider-Man because it's two completely different games. When you release a Sonic right next to a Mario and they're both 2D
that's
platformers,
bad.
and you have the direct comparison. I'm a mom and I go to the Best Buy and I look at Sonic and I look at Mario. I'm picking Mario. I'm sorry. Even me as a Sonic fan, I'm picking Mario. But also, I'm not too worried about this, right? To their point, Sonic sells best from November to
This is where the
December.
turnaround will happen for sure.
Yeah. Well, I don't think it's going to turn around and become one of the best-selling games of the year, but I think it is that thing where Sonic is kind of like Pokemon, where people are going to buy it no matter what.
It's on the Christmas list.
Yeah, it's on the
Sonic is a
Christmas
kid's
list.
thing.
When I bought...
You should eventually get to an age where you stop caring so much about Sonic.
Well, I don't know if I'd say that.
Sonic is a kid's thing. It's a cartoon.
But it's also forever, right? It's a family game. It's the best family game is what it's nominated for. But when I bought when I gave my nephew my Switch for Christmas last year, I gave him Sonic Forces also. I also gave him a Mario game, don't worry everybody. But like that was one of the games I gave him. I feel like Sonic is that game that for Christmas, if you're buying a kid a console, it is the easy choice. It is oh yeah, I know Sonic.
Tried and true.
Yeah, tried and true.
We know who this guy is. He
We
runs
watched
fast.
the movie in theaters last year. Like,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
kid loves Sonic. You know,
Yeah.
that's what it's for. And
Loves
so
chili dogs.
loves chili dogs. Sonic games usually always come out in a November period. And so even the fact that they stuck to October, I was surprised by. But yeah, like it's there for Black Friday. It's there for Christmas shopping. That's the whole plan with it. And so we'll see it land in the top 5 next year.
We'll look for the NPD at the end of the year.
The
and see where it shows
NPD is
us.
about to go insane for Sonic. Just trust
Matt
me. Just trust me.
Piscatella, keep us posted on how Sonic jumps up.
Story number 6, Unity is eliminating 265 jobs and
Oh!
and terminating Weta FX partnership. This is Chris Kerr
right?
at Game Developer. Weta. Gary Weta. Engine maker Unity will cut around 3.8% of its global workforce, totaling 265 roles after ending an agreement with digital effects company Weta FX. As reported by Reuters, Unity is terminating the professional services agreement it signed with Weta FX after purchasing the company's VFX tools and development division in 2021. The move was confirmed in an SEC filing, which states that Unity has terminated its obligations to provide certain services to Weta FX and also amended certain intellectual property rights between the parties. That same filing also confirms that Unity plans to shutter corporate offices in approximately 14 locations as it evaluates its real estate footprint. I got a CFC for you, Greg.
Oh.
CFC stands for Context from Cameron.
Hey.
Cameron Kennedy, who's always pretty good on Twitter. I like following Cameron Kennedy's tweets, and also he's a kind of funny best friend. He tweeted out, okay, so what Weta Digital was renamed to was Weta FX 2 years ago when the tools development division of the company was sold to Unity. This is still awful. Unity still fucking sucks lately, but the Weta Digital most of us think of when we see this is a different one, right? And so if you recognize the name Weta, right, like you probably associate it with Lord of the Rings, Avatar, like they do a lot of visual effects. They've been historic for visual effects, founded by Peter Jackson, I believe. But yeah, like this Weta Digital that is being terminated right now, right? Weta FX is not that same one.
Okay.
Still sucks though, because
Of course.
it's 265 people losing their jobs.
And still, Unity, you assume reeling from getting their fucking hand slapped trying to go in the cookie jar with those pricing changes they were trying to pull, right? Remember when they did all that, and then John Riccatello stepping down, and like there's the drop of that, and then the ripples off of it, and you assume this is part of that as the board, right, and stockholders try to get their money back where they want it.
Yeah. This sucks.
We're all just pawns in capitalism.
Yeah. Scary times right now. Story number 7. Beyond Good and Evil is getting a 20th anniversary edition. This is Andrew Webster at The Verge. A cult classic is getting a makeover next year. Ubisoft announced today that it's working on a 20th anniversary re-release of Beyond Good and Evil that's expected to launch in early 2024. News comes after details of the release were posted early to the Xbox Store. Not only that, but Ubisoft also accidentally uploaded an unfinished version of the game to Ubisoft Plus.
You hate to see it.
Ubisoft. This version is not indicative of the final game, the company says. As for what the anniversary release will entail, Ubisoft says only that, quote, our commitment to delivering a game that meets the high expectations of our fans is unwavering, and we're dedicated to making it an experience that truly honors the legacy of the original. The now deleted Xbox listing said that the game would support 4K, 60 FPS with improved graphics, controls, and audio, along with the brand new autosave and cross-save features.
Wow.
Wild that the 20th anniversary of this game is coming out before Beyond Good and Evil 2, which was announced, 7 years ago?
Has it
No
really
way.
been that long?
6 years ago?
6 years sounds right. If it's 7 years, then I gotta check for gray hairs. You know what I mean? I'm gonna look like Greg Miller in a second.
All right.
Do y'all,
You know what I mean?
But and of course I'm clowning, but do y'all think because they're making like a kind of big deal about this 20th anniversary thing, like maybe they're trying to
2017 conference. So yeah, 6 years.
Yeah, 6 years ago, coming up on 7. Jesus Christ. Do you think they're trying to get Beyond Good and Evil back into the mind share of people to build up to?
They're trying to fucking make money. They're trying to have a win. You know what I mean? As they continues to eat shit left and right. Prince of Persia remake, just a nightmare. So then here's this new Prince of Persia game that looks dope. Not taking away from it. Hey, here's Division Heartland. This will be out. Oh, no, still not out. Here's Division on the mobile game. Still not out. Okay. Here's Assassin's Creed languishing a bit, even though, of course, the Mirage we enjoyed here, but not, the return to the mega front of what Assassin's Creed was. I think now you have the Avatar game coming up in a week.
No way.
Yeah?
No way.
Isn't it next week? First week of December?
Let me look. Avatar Frontiers of
It is.
Pandora?
Yeah, it is December. Early December.
December number 1 is Friday.
December number 1. is that what we're doing dates
First
now?
issue. First issue.
Yeah, December 7th is the
Yep,
date.
see,
No
next week.
way.
That
there's-
is in 8 days.
Huh. Wow.
Wow.
All right, cool. But yeah, I mean, I think it is, to Greg's point, yeah, I think it is like, all right, here's another way to make money. People like Beyond Good
They
and
know
Evil.
people love them, and like, guess what? Beyond Good and Evil 2 is nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
You're not playing that anytime soon, so toss somebody a bone there.
I will say, like, if we bring back up the art on Twitter, they do put the Ubisoft original branding on it.
Sure.
Which they put on all their games now, but the fact that like they're taking an old game and making it Beyond Good and Evil Ubisoft original, both that makes me wonder, like, oh yeah, like how much of a remaster is this gonna be? Like that makes me think that you're gonna do more to it. I know they mentioned 60 FPS and stuff, but like, like this it makes me think that it's gonna be more along the lines of like a Metroid Prime remastered, where you open it up and you're like, oh snap, this is like a surprising step forward from what the original is. I think that's exciting, but then also like the fact that
I'd be
you're doing
shocked
that work.
if they did that. That'd be awesome if
Yeah.
there was that much love and care put into it.
Yeah, if there is, like, that makes you start to think of, all right, like, what is up with Beyond Good and Evil 2? What's the latest update? It has been 6 years. Is the Joseph Gordon-Levitt thing going well? Like,
That's what did it. That's what threw it all off.
What's up with that? What was it? Click record or whatever? Like
Hit record is
Hit
his thing,
record?
Yeah. That's still going.
that is.
His little site is still doing that
Oh,
thing.
yeah. Are they still taking people's art and not crediting them for it?
Listen, the community is slowly making Beyond Good and Evil 2, and we'll get it. We'll get it sooner or later. Story number 8. Netflix gets its biggest games yet with GTA Trilogy in December. I'm pulling quickly from Ash Parrish at The Verge. Netflix is adding the GTA Trilogy, the definitive edition, to its ever-expanding, ever-impressive roster of games. It'll be available both in the Netflix mobile app and offered separately to Netflix subscribers in the App Store and Google Play. Let's go.
That's awesome.
That's
Again,
really cool.
we're just one. I put up an image that Jen had captured when she was watching Netflix a couple weeks ago, now maybe even a month ago, of like it was finally on the splash page. It was Dead Cells. You turned it on, it was Dead Cells on TV.
Really?
Saying, hey, you got games or whatever.
That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I tweeted it out, but it was never gone. We've never seen it since.
Yeah.
It was just that thing. It might have been maybe somebody hit a button earlier or whatever.
It's like
they're
when
testing
when
something.
people were playing Assassin's Creed Mirage and they clicked the map button and then like a ad, or no, it was like Odyssey or something, and then an ad for Mirage popped up and
Is that right?
Ubisoft
I
was
remember
like,
that.
oh, this is like last week. People made a big hubbub about it.
Oh, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
oh, ads in our games. And Ubisoft was like, oh, no, it's all good. We messed up. It was a mistake.
I still think you're one day away from we're going to wake up and there'll be a press release of like, all right, Netflix has dropped the controller thing and it now syncs to your app and you can play all the games on your TV and yada, yada, yada. And I think that'll be the big deal.
Yeah. Good get.
Great get. Mike was playing them recently, weren't you? He says he puts up devil fingers and says, hell yeah.
Every now and then I boot up Exploding Kittens because I like Exploding Kittens.
Sure.
But I've not booted up anything else on Netflix.
Not even Immortality.
No, because I played it on Xbox. Actually, I played it on Steam Deck, which was a really good way to play that game. I really liked it.
When's it coming to PlayStation?
That's a really good question. I mean, Game Awards
want
around the corner.
goddamn platinum.
I was going to say round 9. Story number 9.
Number 9.
This is kind of feedy brain. PS Plus for December has been revealed. This was tweeted out by PlayStation. We're getting some Lego 2K Drive, Power Wash Simulator, and Sable. I would say a stellar month
Whoa!
for PS Plus. Yeah,
stellar month.
PS Plus. PS Plus. Yeah, that gets my stellar rating. Now, do I have to establish what the rest of the ratings are? Yes. But I'm going to start at stellar. I think Stable, 2K Drive, and Power Wash, especially Power Wash. Like they put 2K Drive as like
The big key art.
big one. Yeah, but I think it should be power wash.
What was the deal? I remember everybody getting excited for 2K Drive, and then 2K Drive hit, and it was like mid, right?
Well, it came out. It was fine.
Okay.
It's what you would expect out of a Lego open world racing.
It was
game.
them doing like the crew, right?
Yeah, it was them doing like a little bit of like Forza, but like how do we make it family friendly, especially kid friendly? And so it came off, I think, a bit generic. It was cool. It also came out at
It
the
came
most
out in
wild
2023. You know, that's its
It
biggest
came out
problem.
in May 2023,
Oh.
right after Zelda. Like right after Zelda, right before Diablo, right before Street Fighter.
Okay.
I was one of the people that was excited for this thing. But yeah, I was stuck between Zelda and Street Fighter, so I never was able to give it the time of day. I believe Raj Corney really likes Lego 2K Drive.
That's a damning. That doesn't help.
That same
doesn't
man
help.
completed Golem, so take that for what it's worth. Greg,
Yeah.
very excited to see what other cool, fun, casual sports games that the 2K Lego team can create.
Of course.
But getting that 2K goal, you know 2K goal?
I don't
Their
know
soccer
2K
one.
goal.
This is the soccer one they're making. It's so far away. If I want to know what's coming out to mom and pop shops today, where would I look?
The official list of upcoming software across each and every platform is listed by the Kinda Funny Games Daily Show hosts each and every weekday.
Yeah. Would it surprise you that I'm actually extremely excited for Lego 2K Goal?
No, not at all.
Yeah, no, it's their Lego soccer game. It looks fun.
Remember Lego Dimensions?
I do remember Lego Dimensions.
Taken
yeah.
too soon.
Remember when they had Portal in there?
Yeah.
Weird. Out today, we got Cross Blitz early access for PC and Wizordium early access for PC. If you're a Hexen person, you might want to check out Wizordium early access. New dates for you. Pokemon Horizons, the series, is premiering in the US on February 23rd, 2024 on Netflix. Winter Survival endures frigid isolation on PC via Steam early access beginning Wednesday, February 28th, 2024. Decapolice is delayed to 2024. Megaton Musashi Wired has been delayed to April 25th, 2024. Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia will end service on February 29th, 2024. I didn't even know that was out.
I don't know if there's enough words in that title.
Dissidia Final Fantasy Opera Omnia is a game that has existed long enough to about to be shut down. And then Dragon's Dogma 2 officially launches March 22nd, 2024 on Xbox Series X, PS5, and PC. Deal of the day for you, Fury, that is F-U-R-I, is $7.99 on the US eShop, and I believe it's also on sale on the other platforms as well. Fury is a game that I highly recommend. If you like boss rush games, if you like hack and slash games, if you like, top-down action games, Fury is a really good one of those. It's all bosses. It's all like, it has a really dope-ass soundtrack.
Bosses all
it has
the
a
time.
style that reminds me a bit of like an Afro Samurai. Like, it's cool as hell. It was on PS Plus like in 2014 or 15 or something like that. That's how I got into it. I was like, yo, this game rocks. And so check out some Fury. $8. Now it's time for kindafunny.com/you're wrong, where you write in, let us know what we got wrong as we got it wrong, so we can correct it for those watching later on YouTube and listening later on podcast services around the globe. Ginther the Great says Spotify Wrapped ends as of Halloween.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so they stopped tracking your stuff as of Halloween.
Don't love that, but I understand you got to cut it off sometime.
Yeah. Nick Show says, correcting Mike here, he mentioned that Hi-Rez made Lethal Company, but they made Rogue Company.
Get out of here, Mike.
Rogue Company, really fun. I played that for like a week or so, and I had a really fun time with that one. Let's see. Mike said that the Tribes was an early 2000s game. In fact, Star Siege Tribes, the first game in the Tribes series, was released in 1998, so it's a late 90s game.
That's the same thing.
Listen, it's Radic,
Can't be wrong.
Can't do no wrong. Dynamic says Paramore released This Is Why in February of 2023, and it's a banger.
This is why.
No, it's like this
Ain't
is
nothing
why
but a
I don't give a-
heartache.
This is why.
Ain't nothing but a
Mad Exposure says the first game in the Angry Birds franchise was initially released December 11th, 2009 for iOS. Is
14 years ago. Fucking Christ.
that right?
Yeah.
Man, I'm about to
I
get,
ain't
about to get
never
a graze.
wanna
That's half of my
hear
lifetime.
you
What
say.
the fuck?
Yeah, I guess, that's half my lifetime plus a year. Dear Sixlet says Knuckles is already shot and filmed, expected to release early 2024 on Paramount Plus.
There you go.
We eaten. And then Sal Romano, shout out Sal Romano, writes in.
But is it really Sal Romano?
I mean, who is gonna impersonate Sal? I will say Sal Romano followed me yesterday on Twitter.
Okay,
After the
then
show,
that's
so
real. That's
1000% is Sal
Okay.
Romano. They say Persona 5, the Phantom X, isn't out in China yet. At the moment, it's only confirmed for release in simplified / traditional Chinese. Japanese release is probably a lock since the game is voiced in Japanese, but whether that or a global release will actually occur is still unknown at this point.
I think there might have been like a beta at some point, so I guess that's what I was thinking of.
Very good, you're wrongs today. Y'all killed it.
All right, so Barrett, I just tossed into.
We can't do this again, Greg. We
I
try to
up-
expose people.
I opened up Sal Romano. He followed you on Twitter. It turns out I was already following him. Well, it doesn't turn out I was already following him, but I've never actually like opened it up or whatever. So this Sal Romano, what a good-looking fellow.
Yeah?
I would have guessed Sal Romano was older than me because I feel like this is a name that's been around forever. It's on the screen. You know, you can look over here.
Yeah, but
it's
my eyes. I need to
click on him, Barrett. Make him big. Click on Sal. I would have guessed Sal Romano was older than me. I feel like I've known this name in Gamatsu forever.
Yeah.
Turns out, Greg, he's like 50.
He ages very gracefully.
Unlike me, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, fair enough.
I like in his Twitter description, he just says, I'm Italian. I respect that.
I respect that too.
I wish I could have the courage to admit that I'm Italian.
You know, I mentioned this for VGC the other day that like I'm like, how do y'all work over there? Like, what's Gamatsu? How do you like? Is it just you? Because every time I go to Gamatsu, it always says Sal Romano for like the writer of the article, and I know like your articles are very much like you're aggregating, like, and you're like, it's not like you're doing like the big like editorial, like adding a bunch of context or whatever. You're really good at just being like, hey, this is the information. Like that's kind of what Gamatsu is.
Yeah.
Is that just you though? Because that's a lot of work you're doing, Sal.
Yeah.
Good on you. But also, I hope you're taking breaks and all that stuff. You know, smelling the roses, touching the grass, feeling the sun on your face, all that good stuff. That's it for kindafunny.com/you're wrong. Tomorrow's hosts for KFGD are going to be me and Tim Geddes. Of course, this has been Kind of Funny Games Daily, each and every weekday live right here on youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames, except for today because Andy's doing his thing. Oh, we should have said that. Yeah, Andy's streaming right now on Twitch. He's watching Midnight Mass.
Andy, though. We're going to do the super chat and then we're going to do some KFW, all right? Andy's over there in a sleeping bag sitting there like a clown.
Yeah, and so if you're wondering where Andy is or if you're wondering what's going on Twitch, he's watching Midnight Mass. So there you go. But yeah, usually youtube.com/kindoffunnygames and twitch.tv/kindoffunnygames. We run you through the nerdy news you need to know about. Until next time, Game Daily. This is why I don't leave the house. That's the Paramore.
Oh, okay.
Pretty good album. Recommend it.
The newest one.
The newest one,
that we didn't know was new.
Yeah.
Okay. Hi, Mike. You're here.
I'm back, baby. Good morning and welcome to your Kind of Funny Games Daily Super Chat Post Show with me, Snowbike Mike, and of course your two incredible show hosts, Greg Miller and Blessing Adeoye Jr. It is a lovely Hump Day Wednesday, Bless, here in November,
Are you
and
celebrating?
we're looking forward. Getting my hump on. Of course, Kind of Funny best friends, don't forget you can get involved in the show right now. You can write in with your YouTube Super Chats. Of course, we're only watching live on YouTube, so let's just keep it to the Super Chats right here, right now. Of course, if you're watching live on YouTube, you can write in with your questions, comments, concerns. We can dive a little bit deeper into one of today's news stories, or you can give us some of your predictions for the Game Awards or anything else in between. We will jump in and read all of those, just like my good friend Brand Matz did to kick us off with a $10 Super Chat and says, hey, y'all. I recently went back and watched Greg's Starfield spoiler cast and was wondering if he's went back and completed any more New Game Plus. What's the man up to? And the man was in quotes.
Becky Lynch.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I play as Becky Lynch. And of course, if you haven't watched, if you've beaten Starfield since I put that up, or you're never going to play Starfield, please go watch it because I love that. That's one of my favorite pieces of content I did this year. Just a one-man, hour-long podcast ranting and raving.
You got it, Greg. You can do that.
I know I can. I'm fucking awesome.
Blessing can do it too. He's pretty good.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I forget where I left it off. I think I left it off right that I told you guys in there that I had reset it one final time, and I walked in and it was normal now, and I was going to go romance Andreja on that playthrough. That is still where we have left it. Because I still fight the urge, I'll let you know, and I'm starting to falter, but I want to just go play it. But it's like I know that I need to play more Zelda, I need to do this other stuff, like I need to do, and I'm playing stuff others review, redacted, yada, 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 to be ready for other shows that I'm doing. But it's still at the forefront of my mind that I want to get back to it. So there has been no movement, but we're still there, and I still think about that game just about every day.
Wow.
I love Starfield.
Terrific to hear. I love hearing that.
Hell yeah.
Blessing, what's a game that you think about almost every other day? That like you're not currently playing right now. What's a
Yeah.
game that's on the back of your mind still?
Inscription. I think about
cool.
I think about Inscription a lot. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just
Well.
the fact that it's so fun and
Like you played it and beat it though.
I played it and beat it.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, okay.
But like I go back to it every now and then because there is like an endless mode that you can go do, or like a challenge mode, I should say, where like you turn on different like modifiers, and so you're making the difficulty more based on like, oh, this run through you can only use 2 of this kind of card or whatever.
Yeah.
And so I go back and do that every now and then when I'm looking for something to play and knock out. It's just so addicting though that like if I do it, I have to be prepared to like be addicted to it for the rest of the day.
I like that.
Yeah.
Mike, what about you?
I like to think about Gwent.
Ah,
Yeah.
man. Hell yeah.
That's crazy. Let's jump into another fun one. CJ writes in with the $2 super chat and says, "Is 2024 the big showcase year for Sony?"
Big showcase here. What do you mean?
That's what they wrote.
Are we gonna
I
have the big
guess, like,
PlayStation showcase?
Yeah, we're gonna have a. Oh, you're thinking it like that? I thought it was like the showcase year for Sony. Like, hey, here's all of our dope games.
I mean, that's every year for Sony. All right,
Yeah,
come on,
it's
now.
not
mine. Come on, man.
That wasn't even this year.
What do you mean, Spider-Man 2, baby?
That's not every game. Spider-Man 2 is one
It's a
game.
good video game.
Gosh,
Yeah,
that's
it's a good
all you
video
need.
game.
That's all you
You want
needed.
to put Horizon Call of the Mountain up there? Showcasing all your big and best games?
I like that I turned the corner to tell Mike to bring his mic up, and he instinctively like high-fived me from the other
Yep.
one.
Well, I was giving you the high five too. You know what I mean? Sony rules.
I mean, I think next year will be very fascinating, and even Game Awards will be fascinating. Of the kickoff to next year, what are you doing? Are we doubling down on live services? We've already talked about stopping some of those. So do we have other single player things? Are we going to go and announce Ghost? Are we going to talk about what's going on at Sony Bend? Are we going to talk? There's so many unknowns right now, and I don't know when and how you start doing that and talk about it and lay out what we've talked about before with Phase 2 of the PlayStation 5. Right now, you figure you have Wolverine. If we're looking at next year, even if it doesn't come out, I expect information on Wolverine, right? Which would be a tentpole for either next year or 2025. You do have Final Fantasy next year, which of course isn't a first-party game, but is an exclusive console-wise. So we have that to lean on. Sure, there's Helldivers, which gets me excited, but I know that that's not what we're talking about in this conversation. So what else do you fill in there, right? What is your big game if it's not Wolverine? Do you need a big game?
Yeah. That's my thing. I think the question is, do you need one? I think the answer usually is no. Like even this year, if we happen,
Oh, wow.
if we
Okay.
happen in 2023, if we happen to not get a Spider-Man 2, I think people would be like, oh, what the fuck? But I don't think it'd be a huge thing, right? Because we still got a Final Fantasy 16, and we still get like the big third-party games, right? And like the life still goes on. Next year, I think
Life finds a way.
next year, I think it's a similar thing where, cool, Wolverine could be next year. It could not be next year, right? Like, I don't think there's any doubt that Wolverine could easily, I say move as if it's like slated or whatever, but easily come out in 2025 or 2026, 2027, right? We have no idea when Wolverine's coming out. I think we think it's gonna come out because it's Insomniac and they have such a quick cadence. But like removing Wolverine from the situation, like we got Helldivers that's slated. We got Concord, or no, not Concord. Where's the Concord? Well, one of them, one of those ones slated for 2024.
I want to say Concord
I
was
think it
the
is
2024
Concord.
one, yeah?
Yeah. And then what? Like maybe a Death Stranding 2, maybe. And like,
I forget about Death Stranding 2 all the time.
yeah. And like
That would probably be at the Game Awards, you would think.
You
this
think
year.
so? Yeah.
I think that could be at the Game Awards or the 2024 window. And that could end up being Sony's 2024. I think the thing with PlayStation is that they're hands off a lot of time with like letting studios do what they do, right? Like, hey, if Sucker Punch, Guerrilla, Naughty Dog, like cook, and when you're finished cooking, we'll put it out for you, right? Like that's as far as I understand, that's usually how it goes on the PlayStation side. And that being the case, you can't control when a Sucker Punch is ready. You can't control when a Guerrilla is ready. And so, yeah, if they're cooking, like,
And then we talk about the MMO, right? And the multiplayer
Yeah.
stuff for Guerrilla and Horizon. Like, there's a lot of stuff that, when are we ready to talk about it? When are we ready to see?
yeah. And so, like, I
When are
wouldn't
we
be
ready
surprised.
to showcase?
I don't in the way that you're talking about it, Mike, of next year being the year where like the PlayStation's big guns are coming out. I don't think so. Like, I think that might be a 2025 or 2026 where a lot of these things might just end up being ready at the same time because we're seeing Sucker Punch and Naughty Dog and Bend and these studios that we're looking forward to. They're just cooking right now, right? Like they're just working on whatever they're working on.
Okay. I like that. Blessing, if you were a host,
Uh-huh.
the big PlayStation Summer Showcase,
Yeah.
how would you intro it?
Ooh.
Off
That's a
the
really good
dome.
question. Off the dome?
No notes. Off
No
the dome.
notes
Just
off the
you,
dome?
You speaking.
And
that
it's blessing.
sweet,
It's
sweet
blessing.
PlayStation book. Yep.
Yo,
Uh-huh.
what's up? Welcome to the PlayStation Showcase.
Wow.
They hate me. They hate me. But yeah, I'll start with like a little bit of energy, right?
I like that.
Try to make it a bit more personality. I'm your host, Blessing Adeoye Jr. and today we're gonna talk about some of the big hitters coming from PlayStation. I don't know why I'm doing like the Greg Miller inflection.
I like that.
You're killing it.
Hey.
I mean, you want to be the best, learn from the best.
Wow.
Fair enough.
Ariel Knight writes in with the $10 super chat and says, have y'all played Battlefield Bad Company back in the day? I randomly been wanting to replay that game. It was so funny. I miss funny games. Y'all ever play any of the fun Battlefield games back in the day?
I remember doing like demos and shit for them, but I was never that guy.
Not me, but I remember seeing the commercials and being like, man, I wish I had that. The Bad Company commercials were great.
Yeah, they were good. Barrett, I heard you in the background over there. You said, hell yeah.
Hell yeah, I love that crew. I forget all their names because I haven't played those games since high school, but I really loved Bad Company 1 and 2. Yeah, I just love you could just get weird and creative. That was, of course, Mike, your favorite word. I experienced Levolution, baby.
You know I love that. Yep.
Driving around in golf carts and like them kind of the story being about these dudes who don't even care about the war that they're fighting. They're just like, oh, we heard about like gold, like we want to go get some gold and like fuck off from this war. Like hell yeah. So yeah, that was a special time.
Yeah, that was a special time back when Battlefield had those campaigns that were really funny and fun. Pretty special time. Definitely go check those out. Well worth your time. Greg Miller writes in with a $5 super chat and says, Blessing, you mentioned that you stopped going to church, but that you still listen to religious rap. What is your faith like these days?
Oh, I don't go to church nowadays.
I wanted to know,
no,
but the conversation deviated, so I paid up the money.
I like it.
That's fair. That's fair. Yeah, no, that's a really good question. I would say like
Because I didn't know, we never talk about it, so I didn't know if you still like believe, but you just don't go, or what is it?
I don't go. I still I don't necessarily subscribe to like
A religion.
like a religion, but also it's a tough in between of like, you know, I grew up Christian.
Yeah.
I grew up with my dad being a pastor, right? And like I was very involved in the church all throughout my life, but especially like high school going into college because I was going to youth group every single week. And like at what point in my life I wanted to be a youth pastor. Sure. Like I thought that was the direction I was going. Somewhere in my late teens and early 20s, I think I started to find myself a bit fractured from the church just based on like it was a group of things. It was the election in 2016 of like, oh man, a lot of people out here are Trump supporters and they're like, you know, have these political beliefs that very much do not align with how I interpret this, right? Like when the Bible talks about like loving your neighbor or love people like more than you love yourself and all these things, right? Like
the golden rule.
Yeah, like the golden rule. A lot of how that would manifest in people's behavior in the church and also in people's political beliefs and all this stuff didn't necessarily align with how I felt like it should be,
Sure.
right? Especially when you get to I remember the day where gay marriage was legalized across the US and there was like a palpable tension in the church service that morning. And I was like, this feels weird, man. Like, why is this a thing that makes us feel this way? Like, why are we in a place where we can't just love people for who they are, right?
Yeah.
Or feel at least that people can express their love how they want to. Like, even if you don't agree with it, right? Like, why is it on us to go, no, you're not allowed to do that, right? That always fucked me up. And that always had me in a place where I'm like, I don't know how I feel about this. I think still today I have the thing of, you know, a lot of the values I grew up with, I still have. Like, I think there is a lot of value of like the way that Jesus in the Bible actually lived, right? Not necessarily like, you know, a lot of the strict teachings of the Old Testament of like, you know, don't have sex before marriage, don't marry somebody who's gay, or like all this
Don't
stuff. Right?
jerk
Like,
it.
yeah, don't jerk. Like a lot of the things that people nitpick and decide to apply to the way they want to live from the Bible feels very arbitrary and feels very like, oh, it feels very rooted in hate, right? When
Yeah.
you do that stuff. For me, like the true teachings of Jesus are, hey, love other people, be good to other people, and support other people. And so I still hold those values. I don't go to church, and I don't know if I call myself Christian or not, right? Like I don't necessarily. I guess I'm more agnostic in the way where I'm like, there could be a God, there couldn't, right? Like I'm kind of in the middle of it. I just try to behave my best, right? I just try to like behave as if I'm, you know, wanting the best for other people, and I'm
Sure.
hoping that like I guess my karma in that way reflects back on me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you've probably heard me over the years. I mean, that sounds a lot like me in Catholicism, right? Of like, after 13 years of Catholic school, I was like, yeah, well, fuck all this. Like, there's a lot of hypocrisy going on here. And it was never that I lost my faith in a greater power, right? Or of a God or something bigger than me, right? It was just I lost my faith in Catholicism and these people and how
Yeah.
they all act and treat each other and talk about outsiders and every other way that they're just being hypocrites based on what they're trying to tell me that I need to do, but then turning around and doing the exact opposite of it.
Yeah, I think that's my thing. Is a lot of my beef, I think, is more with the church as opposed to with like
100%.
the idea of God or
Yeah.
the idea of religion or the idea of the Bible, right?
100%.
Like, I think there's so many instances where I recall where like, oh, it's a good there's somebody who I went to church with, who I grew up with, right, going to the same church with, and as we became adults, like, she became a worship leader at the church, and I remember drama that panned out because she ended up getting a divorce, and then because of that, they ended up firing her as the worship leader, like the leader of the choir at the church.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's so fucked up. Like, this person lost their job and their marriage at the same time. Like, and this is somebody that we grew up with, right? This is somebody that we've known for 30 years, that we have this relationship with, that like we're treating in this way. Like, that for me, that was like the big eye opener of like, yo, that's not how we should be behaving, right? It's that on top of like, you know, times where I mentioned that I grew up in the youth group, and I gradually saw my church pull a lot of the support for the youth group as the years went, because they weren't seeing the return in money, right? They weren't seeing the return in offering, and like
It wasn't even put in the collection plate.
yeah, like the youth wasn't putting the money in the collection plate, and like a lot of the youth are from, and especially in the area I grew up, were from poor areas, right? They literally didn't even have the money to give, and so for the church to go, hey, we're gonna pull support for this thing for like this large community that I think needs the support and needs the help and needs all this stuff. We're going to pull that because we're not seeing the return, even though like the whole point of this thing is that we are helping the less fortunate. We are helping the people that do not have the means to help themselves and do all that. That was another one where I was like, for a while it was me, my sister, and our close friends running that by ourselves. Like, we were, you know, keeping the youth group going beyond the church's wishes. Like, I know the church was like, oh man, I hope they stop. Like, this is too much work for us. They're doing too much. But we were like, yo, even with y'all pulling support, we're gonna keep making this youth group thing happen. And we did it by ourselves until like we ended up just moving out of the area. But yeah, like there were so many situations like that where I'm like, man, y'all are the church, but you are not abiding by the teachings of Jesus and like what the Bible is truly about, right? It's truly about love. It's truly about, you know, helping other people, all this stuff. And even when I moved to Seattle, like the first year that I was there, I started going to a church with my sister, because me and my sister moved to Seattle together. And within the first few months, there was a cheating scandal with the youth pastor who worked there, who was also the lead pastor's son, cheating scandal with him and a girl in the church. And it was like, damn, like, I can't go anywhere. Like, there's like no church I can go to. And obviously, like, the whole thing is that, you know, people are imperfect. And so because of that, churches are going to be imperfect. And I understand that aspect of it. But yeah, like, I don't know. I think the organization has a lot of things to get together, like a lot of things to fix. And so, yeah, that's kind of where I landed on it.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Job, you two. That was very nice. Foxy Steve writes in with another one for you, Bless. I predict that Blessing will have the best drip at the Game Awards. Sam Lake will be a close second.
I will say, I felt a lot of pressure with my drip this year. I think for the fact that, you know, You've really elevated it this year, though. Like, this whole year, you've made it a staple of, like, I'm going to elevate the drip in certain occasions. And we've all seen that in it. We've all been wowed. So, yeah, there's a lot of pressure of, like, you better perform. You know what I mean? We want you to show up. So, like, I get my complete outfit delivered today. And, yeah, coming off of the last 2 Game Awards, and then this year I went to the Spider-Verse event where I wore, like, the mesh top with the red suit and, like, had the Miles Morales color scheme.
The wedding.
And then I had the wedding that I officiated where I had the, you know, burnt orange suit and then, like, went shirtless under it and had the chains and stuff. I think I like my outfit for the Game Awards this year, but I don't know if people are going to look at it and go, oh man, he's stepping it up more, right? Like, I think my approach to it this year is I'm just going to go formal. You know, I'm going to wear a nice suit. I'm going to wear a vest. I'm going to, like, you know, I'm going to look nice, but it's not going to be necessarily the showpiece that you expect from me.
Okay. There you go.
I'm going to look great.
You always do.
Are you already playing your outfit?
No, like I said, I got to go to Macy's, buy the new blazer. They got new flower blazers over there. I got to get over there.
Bless. Dear Sixlet writes in with a $5 super chat and says, Bless, Dan Mullins, the dev of Inscription, is teasing a TGA announcement with an ARG in his Discord and tweets with Jeff. Get hyped.
Oh, that's very exciting. I hope it's something, even though I love Inscription because it is this roguelite deck builder game that also has, like, escape room elements and all this stuff. I hope it's something completely different and, like, you know, out of left field, because I forget the name of his game before Inscription, but it was definitely not an Inscription style game. It was like a unicorn, like, weird ass, like, you know, it still had, like, a lot of the breaking the like breaking, like a lot of the game design and stuff, right? Like it's very outside the box, and that's his game design style. I hope he does that again with his next game, even if that doesn't capture as much as an Inscription does.
I like that.
See, this is the sequel to the red one I had last year, Blazers wise.
Yes.
I was thinking about that.
You're gonna go just the Blazer, though.
Oh yeah,
not like the
I
matte.
hadn't seen this though. They got this shiny one here, the sequence Blazer.
That's kind of something.
We gotta get to Macy's today, guys.
We gotta get down to Macy's, ladies and gentlemen. Greg's buying a jacket.
He's buying a jacket.
Who knows?
Somebody in chat says they want to see what the wedding outfit was like. You can check it out on my Instagram, Blessing Jr.
I like that. Abram Wallace writes in with the $5 super chat and says, "Did you know that Idris Elba did an album with Lime Cordiale album?
Sorry.
The man has infinite talent.
He does. Yeah, he makes a lot of music. He does like DJing. He does like rapping and stuff.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Ladies and gentlemen." What are you doing?
Ladies and gentlemen.
Ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude today's Kind of Funny Games Daily Super Chat Post Show. Thank you all so much for tuning in and hanging out with all of us. Guess what? We're not done. Of course, over live on Twitch. Andy Cortez is comfy watching Midnight Mass all day with all of you. But here on YouTube, there will be a brand new link. And guess what? Me and Greg Miller are giving you SLAMSGIVING for KFW. You don't want to miss out on that. And then later this afternoon, the Kind of Funny Xcast will record live, ad-free for all of you Patreon best friends out there. And, of course, post tomorrow where we're going to talk about the perfect Xbox TGAs. So right in now, kindoffunny.com/Xcast if you want to tell us what your dream announcements are for the TGAs Xbox-wise. And until then, it's been our pleasure to serve you. Goodbye.